nobody telling me, yeah, my button. Why? I'm gonna my button. Why? I'm gonna my button. I'm gonna my button. I don't want nobody telling me, yeah, my button. Come on. Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way. Open sesame, make the people follow me. Mommy queen. Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way. Open sesame, make the people follow me.
I am listening to High Radio with my girls. Hi.
One.
Kwasi G on the mix.
Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way. Open sesame, make the people follow me. Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way, mommy queen. Give me way. Open sesame, make the people follow me.
Why are we in this thing? Why is the hour like this? Why is summertime even a thing?
Yeah. They're actually talking about it. They're thinking about
Yeah,
not doing it anymore. So
yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
stopping this summertime stuff.
Right. It's even doing something with curfew and whatever. But that's for our news flash, what we're gonna discuss.
Yes.
Let's just get our special guest here. Do you know anything about African art?
Not much.
No,
To the, let's say, technicalities and details of it. No,
I
just
don't.
what we have been reading from
From our
news
news flash, right?
and
Yeah,
just independent research pretty much. But
yeah.
other than that, not so much.
I know there's money in it. It can be, but
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time.
Right.
I know. I do know that it's a world, it's an industry that if you don't know it, you just don't know it. You probably not value it.
Yep.
But art, I mean, the whole thing behind me is even art.
Yeah.
Considered art. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's this invincible strength that we sometimes just don't seem to think is relevant.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. And here, here in the West where we are, you have, of course, a lot of investment that revolves around art. And things. And it would be nice to also see that, portrayed in Ghana,
African art.
African
Yeah.
art. And so, with that said, I promised to get somebody on that could give us an idea of what African art is like, and of course, he's an artisan, as I would call that. And just help us to explore this whole world because we don't know a thing.
Nope. But we open to learn.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. I'm definitely open to learn. I really also want to know more about what is to know.
Yeah.
All right, so here with me on the show, who I have is a very special guest, Ghanaian, and based in London town. He is an artisan, and he's also the founder of ADOMSQUARED, which is a collective and gallery aimed to promote artisans, specifically Black artisans. And I would really like to know why this thing is so important and why Africans, and of course his journey, exploring this world that is quite fresh and young. He's making major moves. I do believe, and I saw one of the moves that he did was one with Converse, all of these prominent youth culture brands and things like that. And you know what, let's get him on to talk to him about all that is revolving around African art. Let me just see if he's there. He's definitely in the background studio. Let's give a virtual applause for Kwasi Adom. I think that's really what we need right now.
Yes.
All right, let's get him on. Oh yeah, I can see him. Wonderful. Hello, Kwasi. How are you? Yes, we can definitely hear you. Definitely. How have you been? Right. Good. You seem really laid back. Like this, I mean, the way you even look, man, it's... Right.
Oh, that's him.
Right. You can definitely see that you are in that calm space and nobody can come between you and that calm space. That's really good. So this is pretty cool because this is our first setting that we are back home, or let's say back in the studio.
He said back home. Back home in the studio. That's all right.
We're back home in the studio.
Yes.
Let's just put it that way. And it's super cool to just be interacting with somebody who's based in London town. So definitely a warm welcome to you. Shout out to Slim, who is running things at the back end. If you could put his volume here on the studio on a bit louder so that we could properly hear him, that would be great.
Right.
Kwasi, how was your Sunday like? Did you do anything with art?
Getting back into art in the coming weeks, coming months as well.
Yeah.
But for today, it's just been a chill day. just relaxing,
Yeah.
watching Netflix, and nothing much really.
What you watching on Netflix?
What your Netflix? Exactly. What you watching on Netflix? Could you share with us?
Actually, not Netflix. Actually, was it BBC iPlayer? That was Snowfall. Yeah, and I just finished that.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
Snowfall.
Is that a movie or a series?
It's definitely
It's a series. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazing series. Yeah.
I have yet to explore that one. I was into The Shy. So somebody said, okay, if you're into The Shy, then you're definitely going to love Snowfall. So I'm going to explore that. And
I've not heard of The Shy actually, but I'll check it out.
right.
If it's similar to Snowfall, yeah.
Right. Is it that kind of raw series, a bit of not entirely crime, but really like based on true stories and all of that?
Well, it was based on the the drug pandemic in Los Angeles at that time. So
Right.
everything revolving around it, and basically the main character just building I'll say an empire surrounding the whole drug pandemic in LA. So
Okay, that was in the 80s.
In the 80s, was it?
I'm not
think
actually
so,
sure.
80s,
I think so.
90s.
I think it was in the 80s.
Right.
but-
Okay. Because of you, we're going to check that out. Hopefully-
Snowfall, right?
Yeah, Snowfall,
You
definitely.
should. Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you here. I mean, the reason why you're here is definitely because I stumbled upon you on Instagram, basically, and it was a good stumble upon because for us it was we had so many questions relating to art, Black art, African art, and for us it was just we couldn't wait to have somebody on that could give us a better idea of the relevance of Black art, and specifically that of Ghana. That is really why. So it's a pleasure to again have you here. Where are you in this place of life? I mean, how has the lockdown been treating you in terms of your creativity and things like that?
So, as I said, I've taken a break from basically painting. But from the start of lockdown, since in London, we've been in lockdown for like 20 years now. I was doing my master's back then.
Right.
So I did not really have a lot of work to do. I had a lot of time on my hands, so I decided to like fully dedicate my time to art and sort of being like almost a full-time artist. So during that period, I would say it was really good for me. So the period from about June to maybe the end of 2020 was really good for me because I dedicated all my time to painting, and I saw the results from it just from that 6-month period as well. And from basically start of 2021, I also have other interests as well. So one of my interests was finance, and I was lucky enough to get a job in finance as well. So I've been focused on that a lot more as it's currently more demanding. So kind of like the busy period kind of died down as well. So now it's as I said, going back to spending the little time that I have left to push everything into art and see what comes out of it as well.
Yeah. Got it. Very important. Finance.
Yeah.
Donnie's a finance guy.
I'm a finance guy.
Oh, really?
That's true. Yep, an economist.
Oh, okay. Economics has always been hard to me, so I just try to avoid that field. Yeah, I'm just more accounting.
Yeah.
I like that. Mixing two worlds, because you mean I know the artistic life can be sometimes dreadful in terms of that moment you finally make money. Is that true?
I mean, sorry, could you clarify what exactly you mean?
As in the moment you make the income to live off of it takes longer than probably any other creative.
Well, that is true, because unlike most markets that are out there, so for instance, if I'm to compare to the financial market or the fashion industry or the tech industry, people know what they want in those industries, and it's pretty much objective. As compared to art, where people are looking, people have to stumble upon what they find interesting to be able to endorse it and then keep on patronizing it. So for the art markets, you have to really find a target audience that is suited for you, and that is ready to not only patronize your work once, but to continuously keep on coming. And that is kind of like the burden on artists.
Right.
So I mean, I have a completely different take on that, because the relationship between actually gaining an income through your art and actually being an artist, that to me, being free to express yourself, kind of, you know, contrast each other. So I'm more of I think my perspective has made it easier on me, because I'm trying not to see my artistic journey as a career journey where I'm trying to, you know, seriously build an income from, but rather as a journey to really express myself and wait for the right people to come. So if I am blessed enough to get people who keep on patronizing me, like collectors and basically art fans, then I can build a career out of that. Because I've tried both ways, I think pretty much last year, and the way that paved the way most for me, or made me grow, was the path of just doing what you want, doing it freely, but also not relying on it financially, so that you will not be affected by the current trends and everything, but just do solely you. So
yeah, I like that. I think that is really important, because it's being financially stressed or strained. You know, it puts a strain on the creativity, and at some point you stop being creative as you are and start to do all kinds of things just to, you know, make ends meet.
And I've been there as well. It's quite damaging for I would say the artists, because there are a lot of trends, and trends just come in and go out. So if you're basing your art on just that, you're just going to be in a space where you just keep on changing anything, and you're not going to be you know, honing in on one particular style you could have, you know, progressed in and become great at. So it's just, you know, a lot of changes and nothing really stable for you to build an audience upon even. So it's just
I know. Could you kind of, I know we're a bit of a student here, but could you tell us and explain to us what is art?
What is considered?
Yeah.
I think this question is the question artists dread the most, because there's never a definition for art. But to me, I'll say art is freedom, and art is the ability to express. Because at the end of the day, as human beings, we are able to probably say how we feel, so display how we feel. So if I'm angry, I'll just probably cuss you out, or I'll just show that I'm angry through my facial expressions or whatever. But for an artist, I mean, artists in different forms. So if I'm going to take music, for instance, which is the art form that a majority of people relate to, musicians have the ability to use their lyrics and their beats and their music basically to be able to express how they feel. And relating that to art, especially visual artists, we have the ability to display how we are feeling, or display visually a message that we want to put out there for people to relate to. So to me, art is basically the power to express whatever you're feeling freely, and for people to communicate a message or to express how you're feeling about something in a certain point in time.
Yeah, I like that. Good explanation. So could you take us to your journey in art? Where did it start? And give us a bit of a throwback on that.
Well, I've been an artist pretty much my whole life. So the earliest time I can remember drawing was homework, and we're supposed to draw. That was when I was about 6 years old or something. We were supposed to draw a human being, and I had no idea, because at 6 years old, I didn't even know. I could barely make out what a hand was. Like, I was just freestyling at that point. So I was just wondering, what could I put together to actually visually depict a human being on paper? So obviously I went to my parents to try and help me out. And funny enough, that day I think we learned about shapes. So basic shapes, triangle, circle, rectangle, square, and everything. And they were basically like, you know, before you did this, you were drawing your shapes. So put the shapes together and make a human being. So at that point, it was quite interesting to me how I could put things together to, create another form or another structure. And I did it. Obviously, it was horrible. I think I have the picture somewhere, but looking back, it was horrible. It was really bad. But again, it showed what I was trying to do. So from there, I was always trying to depict things visually or put things together to be able to form a structure. And I'll say it really picked up throughout primary school. I was always drawing or always, sketching somewhere instead of listening in class or something. And teachers realized this, so they used, I think the good thing is that they used my ability to be able to, do other things. For example, drawing the diagrams for exam papers, drawing or designing posters or whatever, or drawing pieces of posters for events or something. So I picked up from there. And in high school was my turning point where I did the IGCSE and the IB. So with the IGCSE, I got my actual step into art and education into art to see what this whole art world was about, how I can fully qualify my understanding in art. And it was good because at that point we were taught how to seriously draw, taught about the different forms of media and everything, although we're not allowed to fully use any kind of thing because, again, we're being examined, so there were requirements for what we're supposed to do. So it was mostly pencil and everything, but again, I'm grateful for that because once you are good in pencil, your boundaries are limitless. So after that, I did the IB, so that was probably the most stressful course I've ever done in my life.
Was this in Ghana?
Yeah, what was this?
Was this in Ghana or in UK?
Yeah, this was in Ghana. I basically grew up in Ghana my whole life. Basically lived there.
Okay.
Right.
I just moved to the UK for university and progressed from there.
Oh,
so
nice.
My home is Ghana basically. I'm just freestyling here.
Okay.
But in the IB period, that was when I did art at a higher level. So you can choose to do it at a standard level or a higher level. And with the higher level, it basically goes really in because you're not just learning how to draw or how to paint, but you're learning the background behind, a painting. So if you see a painting of mine, what is the literature behind it? What is the history behind it? Why did you choose this material instead of this material? And although it was really good, it was really a burden because at that point, I just chose art to avoid other subjects. So instead of doing maybe biology or something, I wanted to do art so that I don't see it as learning and still get the same credits for to be able to progress into university. So it was kind of like a leisure subject for me, but again, I chose it to be able to express myself, to be able to paint, to be able to relieve myself from stress, but the learning aspect was there heavily. So I don't know who I was fooling, but at that point, I just ended up learning about art and the history behind art. And at that point, it really pushed me into actually analyzing my pieces and putting meaning behind my work. Because for each art piece, you basically had to research 3 artists who were inspiring your work. So you went from having an idea, then finding 3 artists that had a similar style or inspired your idea, and bring together all the objects and everything that inspired what you were thinking about. And then finally, all throughout this process, you're documenting everything, and then you finally create the art piece and write about why you chose to use acrylic paint instead of oil paint, why you chose to use this color, why you chose to use a woman, why you chose to use some certain symbols in your work or whatever. Explain it in like an essay. So I think that those were the longest essays I wrote, and in total, I think my final essays were like 15,000 words or whatever. And after today, through university and everything, I've not done a work that is that long.
So did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy doing it on a higher level, or did you wish you actually went for the lower or the regular level art?
Oh no, actually, I'm happy I went for it at a higher level because, as I said, I wouldn't have wanted to do anything at a higher level.
Okay.
And looking at it practically, I wasn't ready to even study anything at a higher level. However, looking at it from a art point of view,
you're low-key funny.
Pardon?
You're low-key funny.
Oh. So looked at it and in a way, like looking at it from the art point of view, I just wanted to express myself and be free on the canvas. However, I had to go through all the steps of documenting my work and learning the history behind a certain artist and why he has inspired my work. So that part was a burden. And the fact that I had to play my art according to the standards of the IBA as well was a burden as well. But again, it puts you at a certain skill level that is, I think if you have that background, really nothing can shake you off. Mm-hmm. So I went from there and started university where I was doing accounting, and I chose not to study art because parental pressure, number one, of course. And the fact that even without the parental pressure, I didn't want to study art because of my history and was studying art at high school. And it was just a case of I didn't want to do art for 3 years in university just to get a degree in art and, like one next. So I chose to do finance as well because I was interested in finance and business and everything. I did my degree in finance and I was painting, once in a while. And that's when I also created my gallery as well because of my whole struggle with art and everything in Ghana, because I tried to experiment how to be like pursuing a career in art to see whether I actually want to take it seriously. And with my little effort, looking back, I didn't really do much, but at that time it seemed like I was doing everything possible. And even with that, there were so many problems that I faced. So I was just thinking, imagine if I fully stepped into it, what problems could I have faced? And I've been made aware of these kind of problems. That's why I created the gallery and the community to be able to help artists with these problems and push them out of the whole of not being able to make it as an artist. So I think since then it's just been painting in and out, and the pandemic really changed everything. Like, if I can confidently say that if everything went just as it did in the pandemic, I'll probably be pursuing art full time and everything. But other interest and reality.
So really, why painting? Because could have done drawings or probably I don't know, do other forms of question. Drawings, but why painting?
I'll say painting was one of the art forms that I did in high school.
God, that seems so hard though. Painting painting seems so difficult, sophisticated. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, to an extent, but at the same time, I mean, there are a lot more art forms that are way more difficult. Nah. For example, I'm not even shy to say my weaknesses, but using oil paint. Up to today, I have a pack of oil paint which I tried to use. Up to today, I don't know how to work it out, honestly. And I tried it once and it wasn't drying up. So I was used to acrylic, and with acrylic, you basically paint and it dries up it could dry up within like 5 minutes.
Okay.
And with oil, an hour came by, it wasn't drying up. I was like, forget it. So it just depends on what you decide to pick up. But I chose painting again because I specialized in it in high school.
Okay.
And because I like colors really. So drawing doesn't give you the ability to express colors. That's if you're doing a monogram drawing. That is what most drawings are. But again, I don't limit myself. So the main media I use is acrylic and watercolor. Watercolor I don't use that much, probably on my own, which I don't show to people.
Okay.
Or trying to get into. The good thing about high school as well was that we were forced to learn how to do art in different art forms.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I'm forever grateful for the course, because I had to study photography, I had to study sculpting, so working with clay and everything. I had to do wire work, so that was basically using a wire mesh to create a figure. That was the hardest thing ever. But if I could go back to do it, I'll honestly really just jump at it. So I'm really open to all ideas.
Yeah.
And with the way I see my art going as well, painting is just like the stepping stone, because there's a lot more ways to express yourself visually that just doesn't stick to the canvas. After all, we are visual artists, so with anything you can see, even if it's a building, it's a way to express myself. So painting is just the start.
Yeah.
But I see myself growing into various,
and
forms of making art.
Okay. Did you as well get like the history behind the art? So, like with the different types of arts that you got in high school, did you get like a history where it was from, like which culture it originated, and all of that?
Not really, because at the end of the day, the little freedom that the course gave you was the fact that you had the power to choose what kind of artist you wanted to be.
Okay.
So the only history you had to really learn was not necessarily about the art itself, but the history behind the artists that were inspiring your work and what they were influenced by, why they chose to do their works in a certain way, and why it's then influencing your work. Apart from that, there wasn't any lesson that actually taught us that, maybe this kind of art came from the, Roman, age or whatever. No, there was none of that. So, yeah.
See, wow. You're really giving us a good view of what art is really. Even Donnie, I was even gonna ask him like, how do you know oil painting and stuff? Got me thinking like we didn't know anything about art. For those of you who just tuned in, welcome to Africa on Focus. Here is where we share our success stories. We are back in the studio, and finally we can make all the interviews with our international, or let's say global Africans happen. And we are talking to our very special guest who goes by the name of, I almost said Kwasi Adom, but which is his name, founder of ADOMSQUARED, a collective and gallery aimed to promote, I call it artisans. Wait, I'm going to check with him in a bit if that is the right word even for it. But we are exploring the world of African artists and why this industry seems to be so much undervalued. And what is the value that we end up missing? We are talking about that with him. If you just tuned in on Facebook, welcome. Don't leave the page, leave that video screen on. And feel free to share it around, because the conversations that happen here are very relevant, especially to Africans all around the world. If you tuned in via YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, comment. If you have a question, I am going to make sure that I find that and ask our special guest your questions. In the meantime, I also want to give a shout out to Gary, who says, glad to see you back at the studio. Just like you, I'm finally back. Also, a shout out to Cyril Ajako, who says, hello, I'm watching from Suriname. Shout out to you. Suriname, man, I never knew our show reaches that way. But definitely a shout out to you. Kwasi, I know that, you gave us an idea of how your journey was. Obviously, you're a freestyler there in UK. So we definitely see this is on temporary mode. Home is Ghana to you. Could you tell me, first and foremost, the word artisan, is that correct to call you an artisan, or is that something that is totally not relevant to you?
I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what that word means. I have an idea of what it could mean. That is probably someone who invests or picks up the arts or works with the arts. Yeah. So yeah, that's the most I can think of. But yeah, don't hold me to it. So
yeah, it seems that it is defined as a worker in skilled trade, especially one that involves making things by hand. So hand woven textiles, painted ceramics, keramics. What's the word for it? Ceramics.
Ceramic.
And leather goods. So what is that relevant
to
someone like you?
Yeah, actually, because as I said, visual art encompasses everything. Yeah. And as long as you can see it, and as long as you are able to translate your spirit through whatever you are creating for another person to identify, you have achieved your goal. So textiles, ceramics, leatherwork, and everything is probably in the 21st century and in 2021 some of the most powerful forms of visual arts. And with this, it's mostly in the fashion industry. So even if you look at leatherwork, we can look at most of the luxury bag brands that we have here. So Louis Vuitton and Gucci, or YSL or Hermes or whatever. It's all leather, but they make their statement through the way they're able to craft their work and through the time and the quality and the craftsmanship. And obviously there's the hype and the branding behind this, but that's all part of why they are artists in that aspect. So yeah, it's really important to me, and it's just another mode of expressing myself. So once I'm able to, again, it's more skilled in terms of, for example, with leatherwork or with ceramics, you have to actually learn, break down the what makes up, maybe a ceramic pot, or what you have to put together to make a duffel bag or something. So you have to, gain the skills to be able to succeed in creating something visually from that. But I believe once I'm able to learn that, again, it's just another way of expressing myself. So it's as important. Yeah.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So could you tell us about your gallery? Because it's there for a reason. It's there not just for yourself. It's also there for other artists. Could you tell us why your gallery is here and what seems to be, I don't know if undervalued is the right word, but what seems to be missing for African artists and black arts in general?
Okay. So I created my gallery, as I said, because of the struggles I was having being a fake full-time artist. But at that time, I think I created a series of works, which obviously were not good because, again, I was young and I didn't have much exposure to a lot of things. And this was right after high school. But again, my high school works were good, but my the work I created after was not up to par. And I wanted people to patronize it. So I was really lucky to find this person who was like, I'm going to share your work and speak to some people, and they'll be able to put it in this hotel and that hotel. So as a young artist who has not put much effort into it, I was thinking, wait, this must be easy. So to be able to have my work in some of the best hotels in Ghana, it was like, wow, like seriously, that is a big thing. And the time came for me to actually speak to the guy, and first call he doesn't pick up, second call he doesn't pick up, and he continues, and okay, we don't hear from this guy anymore, and it's like, okay, what's actually happening? And from then up to today, never heard from him. And so that was just left hanging. And then I visited there's an art center in Ghana, which basically hundreds of artists. It's like a marketplace,
Right.
but where every artist has their store. And I just visited there, walked through, and you see so many artists that are like, at that point I was seeing them like me, so that are creating works, but obviously they were creating better works than I was. So walking through there, seeing literally amazing pieces, the work that you actually see in the hotels as opposed to what I thought I could be in a hotel. And they are selling it for 5 Ghana cedis, and at that time 5 Ghana cedis was about £1, £1. So I'm just thinking, my works, I was trying to value them at about 300 Ghana cedis, so that was about £60.
Why are you laughing?
But I'm thinking, wait, it's either I got this wrong or something must be happening to you guys, because this doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I go from store to store, and everybody is just like crazy works, ranging from let's say A0 sizes to A4 sizes, like big, small, everything. Pot, you have clay works, you have wire works, like basically heaven for art. But it wasn't a gallery, it was a marketplace. And this place has been there for ages, and people just come there to make sales for the day and go back home, and it's repetitive, basically a marketplace. So I saw this and I was like, wait, for me to have gotten up to do my work, my bad work, looking back, trust me, it's bad, and to value it at 300 Ghana cedis, for these people to be skilled and to be doing this good work for 5 Ghana cedis, first of all, they are undervalued. Second of all, they don't have the exposure, and third of all, I don't think they themselves know the
true value.
The true value of what they are doing, because boy, these were actually really good works. So I went back home and I was thinking, first of all, it's not fair, and second of all, I don't want to be the guy who promises them that their work is going to be in a hotel, because again, I thought that works deserve to be in the hotel. So
Yeah.
I went back, I sat down, started thinking. And at that time, what's funny is that since I was young, I was always the guy who was like, I don't want to go to school. I don't see the point of learning, all these algebra and everything when we're still going to use addition and multiplication in the workplace.
Right.
So I was just like, what, I want to find a way to make. Back then, funny enough, it was money driven. So I was like, I want to find a way to make money without actually working. So the idea of the gallery came about, and that's the age where social media was literally about to pick up. So I created a gallery, and my mindset behind that was that basically you post the work, promote the work, and you get to a level where you gather a community, and for someone's work to be on your page, they have to pay you a certain amount.
Okay.
So I did it for free. Obviously, because I was starting, I did it for free for a long time.
Yeah.
So I was just posting, and I think that was like the best thing I could have done anyway, because
Right.
doing it freely meant that I was literally took passion to do it. So I kept putting in the passion and posting the works, and doing everything from there. And it got to a point. I'll say I was really lucky as well, and really blessed, because I created the gallery at the same time where I think Nigerian hyper-realistic artists and African artists in general were getting more recognition anyway.
Yeah.
So there was a period where there was a hashtag, I don't know if you've heard of it, but we are Nigerian creatives.
I might have seen it coming past. Yeah.
Yeah. So that hashtag really blew up, and it was by this one guy who also basically did the same thing that I did, but he does it on Twitter as well. So he was smart enough to create a hashtag which literally blew and took artists from point A to wow. So again, I was working within that period, and my job as a promoter was to be able to take the artist's work from their page, put it on my page, and take it to a different audience. And because we're all growing with the boom of artists in Africa and everything, my page grew as well, because I was basically posting the works that the artists were making. So again, it was just growing, and up to today I'm grateful for that, because I still have the connections with those artists as well. And as opposed to if I contacted them now where they are big, and it's like they are not going to reply to my DM or something. But we created that connection, we promoted the works, we kept on working together, and for them it was amazing, an amazing period where they are getting recognized by people from all walks of life. And for my page as well, different opportunities are coming. So I was thinking, how can I diversify my community and gallery to be able to actually benefit the artists I'm working with more than promotion? So at that point, money was out of my mind, because it was working without money, so there was no point. So kept on putting it out there, and it got to the point where people were now coming to get commissions done, or to want to buy works or something. So when I got to that point, I was like, wait, what's actually happening? And that is why up to today I still stick with the motive of, if you are going to do it for money, you might as well not do it, because art is not like the correct markers to be motivated by money. Honestly, I've done it before. There was a point throughout my journey where I said, okay, I'm going to charge people for posting. I did it for about a week. I just said nah, because I made money throughout that week, honestly. But the number of people who are actually ready to pay for you to promote their work were almost nothing. So I just stopped. I was like, you know what, let me just focus on helping artists. So, different points in time, I was getting commission for artists, where somebody in, let's say, the UK or let's say Germany or something will message our gallery and be like, okay, we want a portrait of this or that, want to buy this work, or we saw this work on your page, how can we get a print or something? And they tell me, I basically tell the artist in Nigeria, which was most of the time in Ghana, that okay, this person is interested in your work, how are we going to work it out? At that point, I wasn't even taking a commission. The only percentage I took was in the case of if I had to prepare the work. So in terms of prints, where somebody wants a print of an artist's work, I have to go and buy the paper, go to the printing service, frame it up, and ship it. I took the money out of that and just paid the artist from the rest. So it was going really well. And again, got to a point where I was like, you know what, I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, but how can I scale it up more? And then life came into when, you know, the degree and working and everything. So it's just been at that level where, okay, I promote artists, and if work comes through, I just give it to an artist. And I think, you know, it's been able to build up people's careers to a certain level where they're able to take it off from there as well. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that, to be able to do that. Yeah.
You know, it sounds to me like the experience that you had at the marketplace, you kind of like virtualized it. So
Yeah.
you brought that to the internet.
Yeah, and the main reason behind that was also considering the fact that I was young.
Right.
I had no resources to be able to, you know, create something, you know, in person. And even though, fortunately, my parents are always there to help me, ready to help me. You know, if I want to do something, they're ready to fund it as well. But I wasn't even in the position to be able to say, okay, mom, dad, I want, like, you know, $10,000 to start a gallery or something. It was a case of, I know I'm not going to be able to build a gallery, and I'm also, you know, going to university trying to get a degree and everything.
Yeah.
So what can I do at this point in life for the meantime to create a platform and still help as many people as I can, so that when I actually have my own resources and have the ability to, you know, utilize my resources, then we go big. So that's why so far is on the internet, but soon it's going to start branching out, because again, the ability to, you know, create my own, you know, part for the artists as well as coming alive. So yeah.
I was wondering, there's one question that's really like a good one that's pending here. So what are the elements that give an artifact its worth? Because I like that story that you shared. Okay, there were creations where you could get like 300 CDs for, and you had others just, you know, taking other money just to survive.
Yep.
So how does that even work? Because it's quite, just like you said, it's subjective. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost based on a taste or
Pretty
a trend.
much. And also opportunity, because
Yeah.
one, you have the virtual gallery that you can promote,
Yeah.
and therefore you can attract the external investors or buyers overseas who probably will pay in dollars. Meanwhile, someone who probably has better quality of art is stuck in Choco and and have to sell that for 3 cities. So what other elements kind of like give an art or an artifact its worth?
I think first of all, it starts with the artist. So as the artist, that's why I always say, and even in general, like to get on my page, for instance, or to get into my gallery or to be featured, your work has to be good, and that's like the bottom line. And because of the subjective nature of art, a lot of people, you know, have a difficulty in classing what is good and what is bad. But I think it's very clear to most of us when you see a good art piece or you see a bad one. So first of all, your work has to be good, and I'm able to say this because I've been there. I've been at a stage where my work has been bad, like seriously bad, and I'm still putting it out there, and I'm wondering, why isn't this person patronizing my work? I've been at stages where my work has been, I wouldn't even say my work has been excellent, but it has been way better, and then more people are patronizing it. So the first step, I think, is for your work to be good. Develop your skill set, develop your craftsmanship, and put the work together before you put it out there. And after that, you have to believe in your craft. Honestly, you have to believe in your source, because no one in the art market is going to believe for you. If anything, the art market is really like harsh on all these things, because no one is going to come up to you and say, you know, your work is good. And again, I've experienced a lot throughout my journey. So for instance, with the way I paint, there are some works where I can intentionally, let's say, make a figure disproportionate. And to somebody, it's like, bro, why couldn't you just draw the person the right way? So I've had works where, you know, maybe the face is bigger than the body or whatever, and I'm like, that's how I want to do it. But until you defend yourself and say that's how I actually want to do it, people are just going to criticize the work and say that's not how a human being looks. Right. So stand behind the work, believe in your source, and just take it from there and say that, okay, if I wanted to draw, for example, well, throughout my art career, I'm sure it's evident in my works, I've studied women. Why? Because simply they are more interesting, they have more features than men, and men are just like a piece of wood. So I chose to do women because they just show more, and they show it in a better way. So, pardon?
I said yes.
Oh, okay.
He agrees.
Yeah, so
He's agreeing.
if I'm drawing a woman, and there was a point in my life where I was doing nude figure studies to be able to actually learn how to draw a human being. So for someone like me, it's like I know how to draw a human being. I've learned how to draw a human being academically as well. So if I choose to draw a woman and maybe her right boob is significantly bigger than her left boob, I don't need you to tell me that, my work is not good. And to you, it may not be good, but at the same time, I'm creating my work for whoever wants to relate to it. And that's the beauty about the subjectivity with art, is that, it's open to anyone to actually, speak to and to relate to. So that is me believing in the fact that my work is good and that there's something I want to push out there. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. If you do, you do. Yeah. Another thing is grabbing the right opportunities that come your way, because again, art is a market, and like any marketplace that operates, you have to make use of your network, you have to make use of any opportunity that comes, and you have to be humble as well, because at the end of the day, no one is going to patronize your work if you think you're the biggest and the best in the whole field. And although I just said have confidence in your work, yeah, have confidence in your work, but don't be cocky about it, because again, forever we are always learning, and we are always in the mode of learning and trying to better ourselves. So if you're in a situation, be the most humble person in the room, just to learn from the experience. Take all the criticisms and everything, just to learn from the experience. Yeah. And then take it back to your studio and see how you can, make yourself better as an artist. Another thing that is, a lot of people don't believe in it, but I think it's real, is basically luck and when you find yourself, because there are numerous artists that if they were in, for instance, in the United States, they would be on like Virgil Abloh level. And there's also the fact that if Virgil Abloh was in Ghana, he probably wouldn't be. Who is Virgil? You wouldn't hear about him. Mm-hmm. So it's just depending on where you find yourself. But again, it's using your resources to be able to maximize what you're supposed to do as an artist. And that's what artists as well, to be able to pick up different things, express the message you want to express visually, and still communicate to people. Mm-hmm. And I've had this talk with a lot of people with my gallery, for instance, because a lot of people come to me saying they need materials for to be able to paint, and that they need this, they need that, and sometimes I've been looking into providing these materials for them. But I remember speaking to somebody about this, and it was basically like, to be a true artist, you have to use literally whatever you have. So if you literally have sand, you have to use it to be able to create yourself whatever visually. People have used blood, people have used water to create art pieces and communicate their message. So again, use any resource to again boost the value of your work up. And I'll say the last thing is branding, because I remember I spoke to one of the artists I look up to. He's called West Goodwall. I spoke to him, and he was basically like, at the end of the day, you have to realize that you're dealing with art. Although it's very subjective, but anybody can tell when art is fake. And what I mean by that is that you can look at an artwork. You can look at artwork A, you don't feel anything. You'd be like, oh, you could look at two artworks, for instance, where there's a woman sitting down. Artwork A doesn't show you anything. You don't get anything. You just say, oh, a woman is sitting down. And artwork B, you look at it and she speaks to you saying, this is how I feel. I'm really angry about my situation. Or you feel very sad about, why she's sitting there or something. Mm-hmm. And basically behind every artwork, there's literally a spirit behind every artwork. And to be able to portray that spirit, first of all, I always say this, that to have the ability to portray your spirit through an artwork visually, for other people to relate or to speak to other people's spirits, is it's something you shouldn't take for granted. Mm-hmm. So if you are pursuing art or the arts, pursuing a career in the art field, you have to remember this, and remember that you have the ability to portray your spirit. So don't take it for granted, and try and portray trends for people to buy it. You actually have this power. Not a lot of people have the power. So I'm sure you've been to art galleries where you've seen works and you've just been like, oh, okay, and you've probably seen a work and you're like, wait, what is this? Why am I? And it even gets to a point you are probably asking yourself, why am I looking at this? It's not because the artist used red in this place, so you're interested in red. No, it's because something is communicating to you. The artist is communicating to you. And once artists are true to themselves to be able to put out their spirit, honestly, I've not seen many artists that have put out their true spirit and have failed at an art career. Never. I can't even think of any. Literally, if you follow the money, I'm telling you, it's not good. So just be authentic. Put your true self out there. Be humble. Develop your skills and remember why you are doing this. And again, you don't even need to put value on your work. People respect your work. Honestly, they will come to you.
Right. So you're saying there is so much more beyond what we can see in art, and you refer to that as the spirit of the artist or the artisan.
Yeah.
How does someone develop a skill or the skill set to portray this? As you're saying, you find it lacking within your reach. I mean, there are not many arts that you look at and can feel or have this sense of spirit. How does someone equip themselves to be able to do this? Because as far as I know, every true artist is trying to do that. However, it's dependent on literally how you feel or for what purpose you're actually doing the art. And if you do it in the right way, everyone will look at the painting and experience the same thing. However, sometimes most people will not even recognize what you're trying to portray. Just maybe one person, and that one person, that's where the luck comes in. One person sees it and actually perfectly understands what's going on here, or is intrigued by what's seen. But so is there actually a way to influence your skill set in portraying that spirit of an art that you're talking about into someone's artwork?
So I believe that everybody has the ability to do that. And for instance, I may be wrong, but see that you guys have a radio show. It's your way of doing it. Maybe you could portray your spirit visually. Maybe you could do it musically, but you are in a radio studio for a reason.
Right.
And again, you are there at this point in time because you are literally the best person to do that. And I'm sure you've taken time to become as good as you are right now, or to put your all into what you're doing right now. And it's good. It's going good. It's going great. And for an artist, it's just basically doing that in their visual form. So everybody has the ability to express. Everybody has emotion. So as long as you can, say that, okay, instead of being when I'm angry, instead of shouting, I'm going to get a canvas and throw paint on it. As simple as that, you have the ability to portray your anger through throwing paint on a canvas. Now that is a different form of art. That is abstract art, and that relates to different people. So again, you said something, but I'd just like to say about the right way of doing things. There's no right way of doing something.
Okay.
That's why art is as subjective as it is, because you could literally paint and draw a square, and 5 out of 10 people would think it's a triangle. Honestly, that is the beauty of art, because people interpret things differently.
Yes.
And people get different messages out of different things. So I could I've done a number of works where I just, in curiosity, ask people, what do you actually think of this work? What did you get from this work?
Yeah.
And I ask about 3 people, and they are like, wait. The answers they're even giving is like, I did not think of this when I was doing this. So, where are you getting this from? And it's like, honestly, the reason why you're even telling me or the meaning that you're telling me lies behind the artwork seems more interesting than what I actually did the artwork. So wow. So I mean, as long as you are able to give me a meaning and say, okay, it makes you feel this way.
Okay.
I mean that is the point of it, and you're only going to achieve that level of expression if you paint from the heart. I've done works where I literally just painted to the trend. I didn't like it. People didn't like it. So it's like, why did I do that? A waste of canvas, actually. So it's like, okay. And I've done works here. And funny enough, my most successful works are the works that have no relation to trend, or like, it's like, I'm just doing. Yeah. And it's like, people are like, oh, wow, this stands out. Wow, I like this. No, this means so much. And it's like, okay. So it's just like, put yourself in a position where you're just painting from your heart. Even if you think it doesn't make sense. That's why I said, do not approach your craft from the market point of view, because you're always going to do what the people want. And when you do what the people want, you're going to find out that they don't want it, because again, because it's so subjective, they could come back and tell you that, oh, I don't feel anything, and you are just left there. You've wasted time, money, resources. So just do it from the heart. Even if no one patronizes it, you can proudly hang it in your room and look at it every day. I have most of my paintings are with me. Sometimes I'm just going to stare at it because it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, not because it's good or anything, but a painting could take me to a time. Like most of the paintings I did during the pandemic, because I'm doing it based on how I feel, it takes me back to the time of the pandemic just to remind me of everything that was going on. And to another person, it will remind them of something else. So it's just, again, painting from the heart will take you far.
Yeah, I think that counts. I know you are speaking as a artisan, if I can call you that, but I think it counts for everybody in creative. I think what you just said, musicians should understand this, or should grasp this. What any person in arts, the arts, should be able to tap into what you just said. Don't let the trend actually decide for your creative thing.
It could inspire you, but not decide what you are going to do, or completely turn around what your ideas.
I like that. So what's next for Kwasi Adom? Almost wrapping up our conversation with the one who has made it clear what art is and the relevance of it for Africans as a whole. What's next for you?
So right now, again, as I said, I'm planning to go back into creating more. Also focusing on my career and finance as well, and just progressing through the ranks. But art-wise, it is mostly creating on a bigger scale, creating from in the way that is not necessarily traditional. So moving more away from painting to put things together, and researching more as to how I can put different things together to be able to keep on expressing myself. In terms of my art gallery, again, more action is coming in terms of more discussions with artists, more education, more provision of like resources or grants or something, and just basically expanding the base of how we could support artists.
Right. And what do you think, before we round up, what's your hope for Ghana in terms of art? Because one of the things is that here, because we're based in Amsterdam, here in Europe, there's funding for art. They take it quite serious in the sense that they feel that once they promote the arts that come from the soil, it helps the branding of the nation, basically, among one of the things. And then also we have discussed many topics where of looted arts, African creations that stand in the museum here, like they cost, or I think they do cost over 500,000 euros. Wondering why isn't the art that is on African soil like this? With that said, what are your hopes for the arts in coming from Ghana?
Okay. First of all, I'll look at it from the point of view of the market. So as compared to the West, so let's say America, Europe, and the UK.
Yeah.
More people are ready to patronize arts because they want to be involved in the artist. They could simply like the work, or they are collectors. So they have a motive to keep patronizing the work for an artist's career to be built.
Yeah.
Like on a solid grounds. And you have you also have the artists, that is the more commercial artists, that have done whatever they want to do, express themselves like wholeheartedly. They found their audience, and their audience keeps on coming to them. And in Ghana, first of all, the stereotype is that, okay, you're not going to make money in art anyway. So people are not seriously venturing into art. It's only recently that more artists are coming up and more art ventures are coming up, which is a really good thing.
Yeah.
For example, we have the No Door residency as well, which has just come up.
Right.
Connecting different artists to different collectors and galleries, and putting artists on the spot to be able to create. You have more artists that are actually getting the confidence to stand out and say, what, art is not a traditional career in Ghana, but I'm going to create a path for myself to actually let it stand out. So in terms of hope, I believe there's seriously a future for art in Ghana, and it's really starting to pick up. The most thing I'll be concerned about will be maybe the direction in which it could head to, because at the end of the day, most of the things that we start, especially for art, because I believe like the normal African artist finds success in basically creating that work, being discovered, and going to Europe to exhibit, and I don't know what happens from there. So you have most artists that start out in Ghana, get a little big, and then the white man comes and is like, okay, we are taking your work to Europe, and that is great. And I mean, if that happened to me, you'll find me in Europe also exhibiting.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, what happens after that? What value do they bring to us? Because it seems to be a repetition of history of, okay, they take the work from here. We happily also go there to exhibit the work, and what happens? Maybe it stays there, never comes back home, and okay, it becomes a story of looting. But it's like, okay, we all partook in it, and we all took it there. Well, apart from the works that were blatantly, stolen. And it's a continuous cycle of, okay, we start out as an artist, we wait for the international level to recognize us, and we're done. And then there's no contribution back into the Ghanaian art society.
Yeah.
So you have every artist really starting from the ground,
Yeah.
making it, and then you probably never hear of them, or it's almost as if they just go silent. So it's like, what's actually happening to the artists that actually go to America, Europe to exhibit, and it's like, well, there's only up to today. There's only one artist, Afro-Ghanaian, I don't know if you've heard of him, and he has exhibited in Europe, America. It's like right now, I think he just had an exhibition in Coachella as well, like the area where they have Coachella, and it's like he's doing bits. But he is one artist I can confidently say you are not taken out of Ghana, honestly, because he works with the local people. He works in where he's from, I think, and he works with the local people. He works with basically everyone to be able to form his artworks, because his artworks are basically made from gallons, like the yellow gallons and everything, and he puts them together to make maybe a sheet or a building or something. So again, he's working with the people. But for most artists, you go to Europe, you go to America, and that's the end of it. So taking me, for instance, if I'm to come up as an artist, I'm literally starting from the bottom, and I go. Next artist starting from the bottom. So there's no platform or structure to basically help artists, or there's no like organization to be able to put artists in a certain art field. And of course, the government is not helping as well, because there are more important areas to focus on, like food and water, and like basic human necessities.
Sure.
So from the government point of view, no one is looking at the arts. After all, the arts is especially in Ghana, is a small group of people who endorse the arts, which is basically the super rich. And you don't hear about them. And it's funny because I've been in scenarios where I've been in the midst of them, and it's like they have their own meetups and their own clubs and everything.
It's a whole
So
scene.
to be able to get into that circle
Yeah.
and actually show your work, is one thing, and for your work to be actually good enough and liked by them to be purchased or endorsed is another thing.
Yeah.
And 90% of artists in Africa don't have this. So again, that's another thing I'm working on, to be able to bridge the gap and not again and also define success in our own way as Ghanaians, because not the art success story doesn't have to be, being picked up in Europe or being picked up in America.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be, having to have an exhibition where, thousands of people come and sip champagne and, don't give you any accolades after that.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the artist journey. I'm thinking of a way of defining a new form of success where we can literally create commercial art out of most of the artists that are coming up. And also, contribute to their lives.
Starts.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, thank you very much, Kwasi, for giving us all of those perspectives.
Yeah.
I think it really gives us a better idea of how the art world is now, in Ghana specifically, and also what you do on such a lean scale to make the needed connections happen. And I hope with people like you, that could mean a turnaround in the industry where a lot of people could be able to monetize it and also be able to I call it quite an invincible thing that could help brand Ghana as a whole. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me on the show as well.
Most really welcome. For all of you out there, if you are interested to follow Kwasi Adom, make sure that you follow him on Instagram. There you can find him. What's your name on Instagram?
Yeah, it's just Kwasi_Adom.
And the gallery?
Gallery is ADOMSQUARED_art.
Right. And then you have several other businesses. You are a true hustler. Plus you are in finance. Man, you definitely refuse to be the broke artist. Let me just put it that way. All right. Thank you so much, Kwasi. We'll be catching up and, of course, staying in touch with you and your ventures so that, in, let's say, a couple of months' time, we will have you back on the show to give us an update on what's going on in the world. Right.
All right.
Have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was a good conversation, a good lengthy conversation.
Yeah.
It was almost like podcast, where you could just focus on the conversation.
Right.
Basically. Time for music. We are going to go on and to discuss our usual news flash. You know what's going on in our world. You are listening to Africa on Focus. A shout out to everybody who took the time out to listen. Today, we discuss how can we monetize the art coming from African soil. With that said, we had our special guest, Kwasi Adom, and now we're moving on to the next session. But I think it's time for some music. Let's unwind. Let's listen to Mpikwa with his record called Violetti, and we'll be right back. It's me and Donnie. You dig?
Yeah, Fino, plenty on me beat.
City on Hill.
You see that man, you the here. Guys, I'm a man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah, you see that man, you the here. No. Guys, I'm a man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah, look at it.
This is a where you went?
This is a Gino Defia.
It's a new mixer, new console.
Look at it. Violet. Yes, we all know that you got a fine face. Yes, the way my motion, but that doesn't mean the way my boss. So you better take it slow. Better find your own man. God is watching you. My sister, change your ways. Yeah. You see that man, you the here. Girl is a married man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah. You see that man, you the here. No. Girl is a married man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah. Look at it. Violet. She know the fear. Violet. Look at it. Violet. You know the fear. Violet. Violet. Na smile you make a move, she won't go so come but you take it. This is a married man, that's a kupele zeno follow up. Yeah. fi know. Waiting on the beat.
City on Hill.
You see that man, you the iron here. No. Girl is a married man, don't touch you be fine. Yeah. Look at the Violet. She know the fear. Violet. Look at the Violet. You know the fear. Violet. Yes, we all know that you got a fine face. Yes, the way we move, but that doesn't mean the way we want. So you better take it slow now. Better find your own man. Daddy's watching you. My sister, change your ways, yeah. You see that man, you the iron here. Girl is a married man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah. You see that man, you the iron here. No. Girl is a married man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah. Look at the Violet, she know the fear. Violet, look at the Violet, you know the fear. Violet, na smile ya ivega mushe monga buso gomboti take it. He's a married man, na sakubele zenu polo abare Rolex, Violet, don't be such a sister. Better find your knees. Look at the Violet, she know the fear. Violet, look at the Violet, you know the fear. Violet, you see that man, you the iron. Girl is a married man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah, you see that man, you the iron. No. Girl is a married man, don't touch you be fine here. Yeah. Look at the Violet, she know the fear. Violet, look at the Violet, you know the fear.
Straight up careful. Ẹnìkan ní ẹnì kejì tọrọ jẹ o. Ọ̀rọ̀ ilé ayé sometimes you can understand. Kẹ́ni tó ní má pa láìní lọ́lẹ̀ o. Torí báyìí bá kókó sóhun a lè dá lọ́la. Bàbá tẹra mọ́ṣẹ́ ni. Plenty people sabi I sabi you. Jẹ́dẹ̀ fi moving left for my issue. Dásí ọ̀rọ̀ mi bless my hustle. Mo mọ̀ wípé sẹ́ no be by muscle. I wish I can understand. Oh Lord give me understanding. I can't keep on watching them. People are suffering for this country. Elédùmarè jọ gbàdúrà. Bàbá lókè do something. Ọlọ́run mi gbàdúrà. Bàbá lókè do something. Ìjọ́sẹ̀ wa don dey prepare o. Èdùmàrè pick my call o. Making me sell flight to Chicago. Magbabẹ lọ, thank you for Shilo. But I want to your willow. Mo ti ń retí ọmọ ti pẹ́, ìgbà wo máa rohun mo fẹ́ gan. Pálí first class kò dẹ̀ síṣẹ́, gbà mí Jésù torí orúkọ ẹ̀, èmi ò fẹ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan. Ẹrù yìí pọ̀ jù fèmí nìkan. Àgbèdán dey clap people testimony. So they when will it get to my turn? Elédùmarè jọ gbàdúrà. Bàbá lókè do something. Gbàdúrà. Bàbá lókè do something. Wagwan tàbí àṣàbí. Jẹ́dẹ̀ fi múye sometimes you can understand. Kẹ́ni tó ní má pa láìní lọ́lẹ̀ o. Torí báyìí bá kókó sóhun a lè dá lọ́la. Bàbá tẹra mọ́ṣẹ́ ni. Plenty people sabi I sabi you. Jẹ́dẹ̀ fi moving left for my issue. Dásí ọ̀rọ̀ mi bless my hustle. Mo mọ̀ wípé sẹ́ no be by muscle. I wish I can understand. Oh Lord give me understanding. I can't keep on watching them. People are suffering for this country. Elédùmarè jọ gbàdúrà. look you do something. Ọlọ́run mi gbàdúrà. Bàbá look you do something. You don't say what don't they prepare, oh. Prepare, oh. It do my big my call, oh. Making me self like to Chicago. Babylon, thank you for Gilo. What I want in your willow. Mo ti ń retí ọmọ ti pẹ́, ìgbà wo máa rohun mo fẹ́ gan. Pálí fọ́ská kò dẹ̀ síṣẹ́, gbà mí Jésù torí orúkọ ẹ̀, èmi ò fẹ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan. Ẹ̀rù yìí pọ̀ jù fèmí nìkan. Àbẹ̀dán dey clap people testimony, so they when will it get to my turn. Elédùmarè jọ gbàdúrà. Bàbá lókè do something. Is believing, but by faith me I keep on believing. This is no regular, I give them the real deal. Level of Jesus, bring it the difference. T-Bass come and give them the rhythm. Sing along if you light in the building. I'm making record for the king and the children. And the land in every then the leading. It's not by power, not by might. It's not by grace, not your right. It's not by power, not by might. His grace, not your right. It's not by power, not by might.
We are here back again at the studio, and we are making sure that we bring in all of the stories that surround Africa and so much more. Shout out to Mensa Gary, who also took the time out to also listen to us on Instagram. For the first time, I just got my Instagram live on. I don't know why I do that, but I'll just randomly do that so that people could engage in the conversation. Anyway, welcome back to Africa Unfocused, where we share our success stories. Myself and Donnie on your stereo. We're streaming live from HiRadio, which is Amsterdam's most dynamic satellite and digital radio station that promotes African culture to Africans in the diasporas. If you are tuning in from Facebook, make sure that you like and follow our page to stay informed, because we have sets of different interactive and interesting shows that you should definitely catch up with. And if you're tuning in on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and comment and all of that. And if you have questions and remarks, do share wherever you are streaming live from. We would love to hear from you wherever you are in this world. Before we go ahead and finally talk about this, a news flash, I would like you to know Africa Unfocused is made possible by Austin, which is elevating your brand. Are you looking for ways to elevate your personal company or organization brand? By Austin is a brand and communications company that helps you to strategize all of that. So make sure that you find them on www.byaustin.com. Also, another who has made this possible is BArtist, is a web hosting and graphics platform. So if you're looking for website, full service, or just designed, BArtist is the platform that you can find. And while you're at it, they'll probably also make you a logo and all of that to ensure that your digital space looks nice and flashy. Africa Unfocused airs every Sunday from 7 p.m. Amsterdam time, and we make sure that we get the conversations going that drive our world. Global Africans all around the world. That's really what it is. Donnie, what's been going on?
Where do we even start?
A lot.
Where do we start? So let's start with the Netherlands.
Oh man,
What's been going on? So the Netherlands, though we are still in in curfew and lockdown mode and all of that, the Dutch are actually looking to still, let's say, do their regular stuff, as they would be doing without COVID.
Right.
So that includes holidays and as well as festivals.
Right.
This week or last week, there have been tests on how to safely still go on holidays, travel, and also how to safely have a festival.
Right. Man, so how does that work? Because I did read about like they do test groups.
Yeah.
So they run a particular type of pilot, I guess.
Yeah.
And a limited group go and do the partying, but then within this new setting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly like the way you saying it. So that's how they conducted these tests.
Yeah.
For the vacation as well as for the festivals. Namely for the festivals, so they partnered up with the an organization or one of the events planners, and they took, let's say, a space where normally they would do one of the large festivals, and just like in quarantine, as they have these regulations that only 2 people allowed within a certain amount of space, they apply the same rule for a festival. So a festival that would normally have, let's say, 40,000 people, only 2,000 were allowed.
Right.
And that's how they conducted the festival. And after that, also collected the results from the people who went to the festivals and how they experienced it. So that was interesting. Yep.
Man, and they call it Back to Live Dutch test, how to have a party like it's 2019.
Exactly.
Man,
Right.
that's everybody's wishful thinking. I mean, a series of test events have been held over the past 2 months to see whether venues can reopen safely before the end of the pandemic. When is the end of the pandemic even? The 8 corona-proof events licensed by the government, including concerts, theater performances, football matches, and 2 music festivals that brought the pilot to a close last weekend. And Lauren Komito went to one of them to get a first-hand look. So basically it was quite a lot, because in pre-corona times, this fairground in Biddinghuizen, east of Amsterdam, was home to the 55,000 strong Lowlands Festival, which is like one of Holland's largest festivals.
Yep.
But this past Sunday, it was a festival light with about 1,500 people spread out across 2 stages and a smattering of food trucks. Man, I haven't seen videos yet, but I can just imagine how excited, Dutch people are, because, man, when it comes to festivals and outdoor events, the Dutch don't play.
No,
They don't.
at all.
They don't.
That's their thing. Like, festivals is one of the
Holy
things
grail.
that we love doing out here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's even people's concern. One of the top questions was like, what are we going to do with, coming festival time? Because last year was pretty much
nothing.
Non-existent.
No.
Non-existent. So let's just see how that plays out. The same thing they did for vacay.
Yes.
A test group, and they signed up for a Greek island, which is so a Dutch travel firm takes about 200 people for an 8-day holiday Greece aimed at seeing if tourism is feasible during the COVID-19 pandemic. And those picked will have an all-inclusive getaway on the island of Rhodes at a cost of €399, which is probably like £344 or $472 per person. But there are some catches. They will not be allowed to leave the resort and will have to quarantine for up to 10 days when they return home. At least 25,000 people have signed up for the government-backed experience. Man, the thirst is real.
Can you help it? I mean, this has been over a year of probably no traveling, no vacation.
Officially.
So yeah. So they're waiting on just the slightest opportunity, even if it's an experiment. So.
Right. And it's quite cheap. I mean, $399.
Right. You would
cheap.
think that is expensive, but that's actually the regular, and including hotel and everything, resort. Yeah, I mean that's
a good price.
It is a good price, and I bet it's including the testing as well.
I think
COVID testing. So
I think it is. I think that people just long to be the guinea pig for this.
What if there's a catch? The catch is they have to take the vaccine.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it.
That would. I bet people wouldn't mind either.
They wouldn't mind.
Oh, that reminds me. You were supposed to say something this weekend
About what?
about you and your testing. And your vaccine.
Oh, if I'm gonna take it or not.
Yeah, you said.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you about it next week on the show.
Yeah. Well, I thought about it. So, okay. The thought is I might take it. I'm gonna take it. You know why? Because the Dutch are slow on it anyway. Because since the time that you remember, we discussed how UK started and they were already up above 10 million vaccinations. Yeah. And in the meantime, we have seen 4 types of vaccines tested and disqualified and stuff like that. Yeah. So by the time Holland catches up, I think that I would have made up my mind by then. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think so. I have no suspicions of it being a mark of the beast, right? And all of those things. So the only concern
why not anymore?
Never had I thought that. I just thought of the technology and science behind it. It just didn't make sense because this is fluid. Why is that a mark? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I think that's a whole nother topic. It's right when we don't expect it at all. Actually. Yeah. But hey, that's for what it is. Holland is very slow with this vaccination. So bad. I think now the older people are getting it.
Yeah, still. And they're not even. I think they just passed halfway, so they're so slow on things.
They're really slow. I think I do remember one person's comment saying, "You know what? I would have liked for this whole quarantine thing to be in stages rather than back and forth on what we're doing. UK is really working with stages and stuff like that. I think they're even discussing." After a vaccination that people can travel, lifting the travel ban and so forth. They rather prefer that than having hopes up and then going into a lockdown and then back and forth. And it reminds me of another thing actually. It reminded me of I think in one topic was that I think Slim is mentioning something about my mic. One topic was it had to do with intercultural differences, and they were presenting a particular case, and they always said the Dutch, are really hands-on with their time and things on like that. But they compared it to, let's say, within the whole organization, the way Chinese work, the way Spanish work, such and such. Okay. And they said even though the Dutch are known to be efficient, on with their time, when it comes to project management, they tend to speedily go for it, but they end up going back to different tasks whereby their whole process is not as consistent, but they keep going back and it takes longer, and I never looked at it that way. I was like, no, they're really efficient. I mean, they know there are roads and stuff like that. Dutch people know how to, but looking at that and looking the way this whole quarantine is being taken, you could see they have a perspective on things, fast paced, do this, but we end up going back and switching and things like that. So it's not always the best.
No, and I think where that mainly comes from is the fact that they're continuously looking for improvement areas, right? Yeah. Or when it comes to like this politic thing, they're continuously looking for areas to cut costs or to make it more efficient in costs, right? So that when you do it, you have a plan. However, because you figure out another plan that will cut that cost, you have to jump or switch over to, so that is also time consuming, or so that actually results in it's taking longer. However, in the end, they will let's say they will save some money. Yeah, which is, I think, one of their priorities.
One of their priorities, man. That's definitely
save money. Let's save money.
If we can save money, man.
Yeah. So
that's I think that's
this whole thing about the vaccine is actually about money.
It is.
Right.
It is.
So where they can actually buy in a bunch of vaccines and have that on stock. I followed one of their debates in the House of in the Parliament. It was about Yeah, but what if? Isn't it better to have a system where the vaccine we have zero on stock or in storage, and just everything that comes in is directly going to
So keeping stock is expensive. That's what they're saying.
that's what they were saying,
Man.
right? Because dealing with the Pfizer vaccine that had to be stored at minus 70 degrees Celsius, right?
Yeah.
That costs money. So for them, it was like, no, let's create this system where it comes in and goes. But then on the other hand, what if a week or 2 weeks comes up and then Pfizer cannot provide vaccines? Now you have nothing to actually give.
Yeah.
So that was the whole debate.
Oh, man.
And see where we are, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about that costing. That money it's like
The coins.
either the one or the number one or number two
Right.
on the priorities when it comes to projects and when it comes to everything. Yeah.
Man. Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that and see how April is gonna, whether the vaccine is really gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
we'll just wait it out. We just wait it out. Next one is I read the header and I was like, man, Black graduates shut out of academic science and technology careers. Could that be the reason why Black people are just not represented in the tech industry? I wonder. Royal Society report shows that white students twice as likely as Black students to achieve top STEM degrees. Man, it's quite alarming because in this time it's very important that these industries have that we're also there, because that's where the money resides. Talented Black graduates are being shut out of academic careers in science and technology, according to the president of the Royal Society, who appealed to the scientific community to improve access. White students were twice as likely as Black students to graduate from degrees in science, technologies, engineering, and maths, which is STEM, STEM subjects, with first-class honors in 2018 to 2019, whereas Black students were 3 times more likely to leave with a third. Black students also had higher dropout rates, which is, to be precise, 4.7% for Black undergraduates compared with 2.7% for their white peers. This is of course a UK based. The numbers are UK based, but I'm sure you could just roughly draw it over the rest of Europe.
Yeah, Europe. Yes. If you go to the States, I think it's a totally different ball game, or totally different. Let's say. Because the demography is different, and over there you actually find like looking at Silicon Valley, you find a lot of Asians, so Chinese, and as well as Indians, big in tech. So there you won't find that many African American people within the
No. And it's important.
It is important
that we're there.
That's the future.
It's the future.
It's the future. I mean, finance has been there, health is there, politics is there, but tech, when we talk about technology, information, engineering's even past now, but that is the future. And you would want, as we on the verge of this future or this new age, I think we have to step in it like no mercy, just go in, all of us. This actually brings up the thought that because as far as I know, they should actually make computer programming mandatory, let's say, subject or course within our high school. If not here, Ghana should have it within their high school curriculum. Just computer programming 101, how to make a website, how to codify an app, or like those things. These are like, because you will find jobs in, especially in the time of COVID, the area that's actually booming, finance, and as well as IT, because you have to create these platforms, you have to create these translators where this system can safely communicate with that system. All of that's where the work, or that it really is. So as a community, or as a country, having an academic curriculum, if you're not spending if we don't provide the space for this to be given to, let's say, our future generations, or the kids, or today's generation, then they'll find themselves doing a course in university and then also end up with no job. So now they have to go and do a career switch. So have to go to another uni for spend another 4 years or 5 years into learning something that will guarantee them a job. However, or in that process, you've also summoned an amount of student debt that is also going to keep you
this really deserves attention. Like you said, graduates of Pakistani heritage had the largest percentage returns from attending university out of any ethnic group. And like I said, it's there's a reason for it. It's their thing, but they also think of the future. You know, they also think of because I think their population growth is also very large. I think it comes after China. I remember seeing some of sort statistics, and they are thinking about their future. You know what I mean? So this is something that we should really look into. Another thing I think is interesting was that overall, the report estimated that 2/3 of all graduates are better off as a result of going to university, with all socio-economic and ethnic groups benefiting on average. Jack Britton, associate director at the Institute of Fiscal Studies, which produced the report, said among students from the poorest families, a few get rich as a result of getting a degree. However, going to the university is still an especially good financial decision for these students. So one reason, regrettably, is that earnings prospects for these groups are otherwise quite low. So this is we should take note and come up with an action plan and think ahead, you know, and also find ways of how to make this interesting STEM for specifically Black students once they make that decision to, you know, specialize in a particular area.
Definitely.
Very much so. Thanks for sharing that. Well, man, this stolen assets. Tell me about this. This is crazy. I even told my mom about this. She was like, shit. If you don't know the politician, oh man, the stories about our African leaders. I think we've heard albums about it, songs about it. You know what I mean? What's happening there? Could you share with me?
So the University of Aberdeen is going to, let's say, return a looted Nigerian bronze sculpture. This is from the city of Benin in 1897. British soldiers took back home to Scotland, a bronze sculpture, and now in today's age, they are going to return it. All right, so this is a topic that we have had, or an article that we've kind of like seen this last year. We've seen that happening from the Netherlands. The Dutch had to bring back a stool or something like that back to Ghana, and we have also seen other let's say examples of that. But one thing that we keep on discussing is it going to be safer when it goes back home?
That's a good
How
question.
are they going to secure it? And two, are they going to profit economically from it? So one of my friends had this also in his WhatsApp status, where he said that there's no point in giving this back to Benin, right? Because it's not money that they can actually use to restore their country. And on the show we already discussed that I made a point that it's all about ownership.
Right.
If African countries can take ownership,
which you can, and have it still located,
then that's fine. I mean, it's not necessarily something that they have to come to Africa to visit and see. It will, yes, probably maybe have an effect on tourism. However, if you're better off keeping it here, or in the University of Aberdeen, and they're actually paying Benin City for this, let's say on a lease, right, or they're hiring it this for their exposure, then that's way much better. But there's somehow this feeling that they have to take it back, they have to bring it back, which is understandable because Africans have been putting pressure on them, and today's culture is also there's this whole ethics that is actually going around saying that, hey, these are stolen goods, and after 200 years or after 150 years,
Yeah.
you should give it back. But yeah, now it's like, what do we need more?
Exactly.
Do we need economic empowerment? Do we need money, or do we actually need
Return items.
Yeah, do we
Return
need
items.
that?
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with this. With my thoughts on
Yeah.
this, pretty much.
What I would, I don't know. I have to check the articles that I've read, but it will be good, if government. We did share it actually in our news flash that government has put on a group of people experts in the arts, to provide consultation,
Yes.
and a range of things. I think that having this set of team does empower, government and whatever as it relates to what to do with these items.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. No, definitely. And there is still a way forward to make it profitable for both parties.
absolutely.
Even though the latter or the first party, so in this case the University of Aberdeen,
Yeah.
doesn't have any rightful let's say ownership of
Yeah.
it, since they actually stole it, right? But still there is still a middle ground there to be
Yeah.
found where it can be of their interest, because maybe they actually still want to keep it,
Yeah.
right? They just giving it back because of what is being said, and because of how it looks now, that they don't want to have a stolen item.
Yeah.
However, if they can sit down and by computing such teams or
Yeah.
who provide, let's say, consultation on both parties,
Yeah.
then more countries who are within the Western world who have more of these artifacts can actually find,
Yeah.
hey, okay, let's do it this way, where we benefit from
Exactly.
it as well as
Exactly.
you. So it's not. So this is how you actually cure a bad history,
Yeah.
right? So then in 200 years from now, we can say, okay, though they came in and stole it, however, 200 years later, in 2020, they sat down with Benin, sat down with the African countries, and these are the artifacts still
Yeah.
on display by these two powers. And that's actually more beautiful story than giving it back and now it's in Benin and
Exactly.
no one is
Now
actually
what? Now what?
no one is going for it. And
that would be a sad.
and
story.
now it's priceless because it's here. If you
Yeah.
give it and take it back, who's actually going to fight? Because the people there are not waiting for an artifact to come.
They're
Like,
not.
What are they
Let's
going
be
to do with
honest.
it?
I
It's
mean,
theirs.
when you're hungry, the first thing that is on your mind is where the money resides.
not where our artifacts or what's our culture.
No, sir.
That would have been an interesting question actually to ask Kwasi
Right.
Adom. So he indicated that he has some of his own paintings at
Yeah.
home, right, where he
Yeah.
just stares at them.
Yeah.
And a question would be, would they have been of more value if you were actually able to sell them,
To sell them here, where he's at now.
or sell them to anyone who is actually willing to pay a fortune for it?
Yeah.
Right. And that would have been an interesting.
That would be. We should keep
question
that one,
or-
man,
Yeah.
for next time when he comes.
Or DM it to him. Hey, how do you think about that? Yeah.
Oh man! In the meantime, I just want to give a shout out to a few people. Gary, shout out to you for checking in on this
Yeah.
show. Have taken 4 vaccines already. Oh man, Gary, you need to come on this show and tell about how this experience was, because I need to know the side effects and everything, all of that included. Also shout out to Nana Kwasi. It's been a long time. How have you been? How are you doing? Basically he's saying we need it back. It's good for tourism. It is still valuable. We need it back. And I think you are referring to the looted artifacts that we were talking about. Thanks so much for interacting with us. Almost done with Africa in Focus, but before we round it up, I would really like to you know what, let's save the politicians one for next time, because that that alone is a discussion.
Yeah.
That is so discussion worthy. Man, here on Africa on Focus, we've had so many interesting guests. We've even had, let's just say, a production company or illustrators that have produced a book, and that is Bala, which is The Secret of the Source, and this includes a lot of African tales. It's for children, and it includes children's book like Anansi the Spider. This one, what does it say here? Anansi the Spider. Another one,
The Unicorn of the Blue Nile.
Unicorn of the Blue Nile. And the other one is the Golden Stool of Ashanti.
The Golden Stool of the Ashanti, yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
And Anansi the Spider.
Anansi the Spider. We had them on the show here because we really wanted to discuss the importance of sharing African tales. And African tales, having our children to know some of the stories that we grew up with and that are worth sharing. We know the Disney stories like Cinderella and stuff like that, and there are other stories from Africa that are worth knowing. I know the book looks very dreamy. It's you even said it looks, what was it, Jehovah Witness? No, that's just for jokes, people, because it's a lot of it's animated.
Yeah.
That's the right word.
Yeah.
And we're doing a giveaway. The giveaway is still going strong. Next week we will announce the winner, and you can simply win by commenting. Tell us which is your favorite African tale. It could be a general one that you grew up with.
Yeah.
It could be one that you heard before, or one that you recently discovered, and you have an opportunity to win this book. We have one in Dutch translation. We have one in English translation. So depending on what your native language is, we will give you one so that you could have a win, and that you could read it to maybe a child or your kids and everything. This is really important. It's a bit of the history that should still, live on and move on strong within our homes, within among African people. And Nanekwesi is saying, Okumfu Anoche, commanding golden stool from the sky. That one, is that your favorite one? I love that. We're definitely going to take it into consideration. Next week, we are going to announce the winner. And the winner has the opportunity. Let me also share it with the people here on Instagram. You have the opportunity to win this special book, which is called the Bala, The Secret of the Source. And that is a children's book that, is all about African tales and all that. So make sure that you share with us your favorite African tale, and we are going to give you a book and send it to you wherever you are in the Netherlands. Yes. Let me just put it that way. We'll try Europe. UK, I know borders are closed in terms of shipping, but, whatever. All right. So Africa on Focus, man, what are you up to this week, Donnie?
This week... have some decisions to make, important career decisions to make.
All right.
So that's this week, and also finish this book, and I have a couple of books that I want to read next.
Right.
But yeah, I have to decide on, because I read one book at a time, and I refuse to pick up the next book if I'm still reading.
Which is good, because you need to have the focus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some books you just pick, and then you're like, oh, why did I even start reading this book? So that's where the discipline comes in. Hey, I have to finish this book. So for me, even before starting to read this book, I need like that goal. Okay, what am I reading this book for? And that always helps me get through a book, no matter how thick it is.
Sure.
So yeah, I have to decide on the next book to read, which I'll also announce on this. I'll also announce here, and also probably give you guys why I am reading that book next.
Yeah.
Yep.
Please do. We would love to really hear about that. Shout out to Amisoko, darling. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Welcome to Africa on Focus. We air every Sunday from 7 p.m. CET live from the city of Amsterdam. You can see it. We're back in studio mode. We now have the opportunity to take on the conversations from the studio.
Yeah, feels good to be back.
Yeah, feels good to be back. The last year has been really good. We have met people, man. We have met people who has made us laugh, who have inspired us, who have challenged our thinking, caused us to read different books and so much more. Africa on Focus is a show that is there to highlight our success stories, connecting global Africans from wherever we are in the world. If you missed an episode, feel free to find it and track it back on our Facebook page and on YouTube, which is at HiRadioNl. Also, stream Africa on Focus, the podcast, where you can solely listen to the conversations that are worth replaying on Africa on Focus on Aftown, Spotify, your Apple Music, Anchor, everywhere you can listen to myself and Donnie, and where we have engaged with special guests from the likes of Denda Mwateng, from the likes of Eddie Kadi, Dr. Charles Ajamai even. That one will be coming on this week, where we talk about the truths surrounding COVID and, of course, our community, what we should really look at. Hi Radio, this is the voice of the next generation. We're tuning off, and next week we'll be catching you again, where we're going to have more of the conversations that, you get Africa, just the conversations that we need to know. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram at MS.ABA. Also follow me on your Facebook and everything, and let's keep in touch. We're ending off with one of my fave songs, which is T-Babs, who is logging on, by the way, collaborating with Angelo with their record called For Sure. Stay blessed, stay safe, and let's do this. Bye.
Shit, I got my God with me. 50 times I fall down to the ground, and 50 times I get up again. I get up again, yeah. It restores me when I triple till I stumble off the edge and tiptoe and get off again. Get off again, yeah. And I was all alone. He put families around me, yeah. And when I need to move forward, it brings the people that I need. Not just at the top of my game, but the love of God been taking me places. Not just at the top of my goals, but the love of God been giving me graces. Oh yeah. Grace so amazing, now him in the show me. The love he gives to me, too much it is too much. It's so amazing, I'm in the show, man. The love you give to me, too much you give.